Kratom's a big thing. I've never even used it before. I've never been very interested. I might do it just for my own education sometime, but it's certainly big business. There might be, there's probably hundreds of acres out there, 100 acre, 1,000 acre farms out there of this stuff.
Yeah, I know of one in Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're going to be the first or largest kratom farm in America.
Oh, so it's all from everything you buy in stores and stuff is from outside the States?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, most of it's coming from Indonesia.
Okay. So it's pretty tropical.
Yeah, the plant doesn't like the cold at all. So you can grow it here in America, but most places you would need to either pull it inside for the winter or greenhouse it. Because if you have freezing temperatures, it's gonna die.
Yeah.
But so in its native environment, it's very humid, and there's a myth that you can't grow it outside of that environment. But I grow outdoors in Arizona. It's very dry here, and they do need a lot of water, especially in Arizona, because you need to be able to counteract the low humidity. But it's totally doable. So anywhere else, especially Texas and Florida, they're good to go.
Hmm.
Other places you're gonna want to greenhouse it, but they don't need they're actually pretty easy to grow. They don't need a whole lot of special treatment besides keeping it warm. You keep it warm, watered, and fertilized. So basically, you want to treat it like a tomato plant, and your goal is to grow more leaves instead of fruit. So you'd concentrate more on the leaf production. So you'd use something higher in nitrogen than you would for your tomato plant. And as long as your tomato plant is happy, then your kratom plant should be happy too. If it gets cold out, your tomato plant's going to stop growing. So is your kratom plant. If
Hmm.
it freezes, your tomato plant's probably going to die. So is your kratom plant.
Right.
It's it's as easy as growing tomatoes.
Yeah. Although with tomatoes, people just accept that it's a an annual.
Yeah,
Is kratom like that, or does it go the whole time?
kratom is a tree,
Oh, it's a
and
tree. Okay.
it's a tree. It can grow 100 feet tall.
Oh, really?
Hmm. And
I
it
see.
grows
And so
very
the amount that
fast.
you can get off of your four plants is, four of one plant is quite a bit.
Yeah, if you can grow it that big, yeah. But outside of a tropical environment, it would be very difficult to do.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because you would want to greenhouse it or pull it inside, and you can't really do that with a big old tree.
Hmm. So rather than the powder, you're selling plants, right? The cuttings.
Yeah, I grow the live plants, and I have 5 different varieties. Well, 6 technically. So one of the varieties is the let's see, which one was that one? Kalimantan. And I originally purchased a bunch of seeds, and I went through 30 of the seeds, or 33. It's 33 plants, and I did thin layer chromatography on them, and I determined the ones that had the most mitragynine in them, which is the main active component. And I chose one of them to be a named clone as the top producer. And it grew the best, and it had a high amount of mitragynine in it, higher than its siblings anyway.
Hmm.
So that one I named 24K. So that's 24K is a special Kalimantan clone. But I also have Indonesian, Borneo, Malay. I've got the Vietnamese bumblebee plant and Hulu. And people put a lot of emphasis on their on the names of the kratom plants, but really it's just it's a marketing ploy to try
Hmm.
and create different varieties and stuff. It's where it was located. There can be small differences, like chemical wise, but for the most part, kratom's kratom. They grow about the same. They look about the same. There's small differences.
Hmm.
There's small differences.
I see. So you would say that the diversity in the strains and stuff is kind of overblown compared to
Yes.
cannabis, where it's more real.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's outliers for sure, but for the most part, if you put somebody in a blind testing situation, they wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It's all about the same. And what makes the largest difference is it seems to be the age of the leaves and how it's processed after harvest seems to have a greater influence on what's going on. Kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with the tea plant.
Mm-mm.
So tea, you have typically, like the three big ones. I would say you got green tea, black tea, and white tea, right? White tea comes from young leaves, and green tea comes from like I think it's just young and middle-aged leaves. Could be older leaves too, not entirely sure. But those are grown in the shade, it's protected. And then black tea is oxidized. It's fermented in a way.
Mm.
But it all comes from the same plant. So when you go and you search for kratom and you get white vein, red vein, green vein, it's not a there isn't a white vein plant or a green vein plant. Maybe like physically you could see it, but that doesn't tell you what's going on inside of the plant chemically.
Yeah.
It's all about the same.
I gotcha. Yeah. Coffee beans are a little bit like that, where there's
Yeah.
like the pea berry and stuff. This the very same plant has different bags that have beans that will go into different bags for the consumer.
Yeah. And that's when you go to a place to buy a kratom and then they have one specific variety that they got, chances are that that variety didn't come from a single farm or a single type of plant. It was probably an accumulation of a whole bunch of stuff gathered up, and then they slap a name on it, depending
Uh,
on what it looks like or how it feels. It varies from batch to batch, just like tea or coffee.
yeah. Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a plant filled with myths. Lots of myths surrounding kratom. Lots and lots. There is one thing if I want to anybody listening who is interested in kratom plants, I've been trying to shout this from the rooftops is there's a variety called the bumblebee clone, and it's different from other kratom plants. It might not even be true kratom. It's its chemotype is it has low or no mitragynine in it,
Hmm.
but it is very, very widely mislabeled and misrepresented. And there are so many people out there that are spending their money on these plants expecting to acquire a product that's going to be similar to the kratom that they're buying from the store. And it's not like that. It's the mitragynine is the main active component
Yeah.
that gives the users that that triggers the opioid receptors in your brain. It's it's a it still has effects. It's stimulating, but it's not probably going to help with pain management or opioid withdrawal the way real kratom would.
Yeah.
I just don't want to see anybody get ripped off. So it's on my website. I do offer the bumblebee variety. I do mention in the description that it is different. And if they want something else, get something else. And I also have descriptions to help identify the plant and to avoid getting ripped off because it happens very, very often.
Yeah. Do you feel I notice on your website there's quite a bit of education stuff. Do you feel like I I don't know if an obligation is the right word, an opportunity to educate people?
It,
Obviously, you have on the cultivation side, you know, 1,000 times more than most users.
yeah, I I try to help educate and stuff, but I don't feel like I know a whole bunch of stuff. I know more than your average Joe, but I don't think I know as much as somebody who really, really sits down and studies one particular plant. I know a bit, but not a buttload of stuff. Like I do want people to be educated because I really don't like all the misinformation and the myths and just people getting away with so much stuff, especially in the Kratom community.
Yeah,
It seems very rampant.
is again, I've never even used Kratom and I don't know very much about it, but are problems, I mean, it's associated with the opioid community, so there might be more
Yes.
fishy problems.
Yeah, it is an opioid, not an opiate. People like to freak out about that. They're like, "Oh, it's not an opiate." Well, it still acts on your opioid receptors. There really is there's no large difference between it and a traditional opioid, apart from that it's not a full opioid receptor antagonist. So the main difference is that it doesn't have the euphoric potential. It can be very euphoric, but it's got a ceiling, and if you take too much, you get sick.
Oh,
And then there's the main the main thing, in my opinion, that makes it very special is that it doesn't suppress your breathing the way traditional opioids do.
hmm,
So if you take too much, you're not going to stop breathing and die.
that's nice.
Yes. It's it's not nearly as addictive and it's easy to get off of. It makes it a great stepping stone for those who wish to get off of traditional opioids in general, whether it's medicinal or recreational. It's an alternative that if it works for you, I think it's the better option because you could step off of it. It's when you get hurt and you're relying on the prescription opioids, you have to jump through loops to make sure your prescriptions get filled constantly. And if it stops working or whatever, you need to take more and you take more. And then before you know it, you're stuck.
Yep. I just had talked to somebody whose son has some chronic illness problems, and just a child ended up all strung out on prescription um uh painkillers and stuff. Completely not his fault at all, but like, and they did help, but they also got him all strung out.
Yeah, that could happen. That's another difference with Kratom too, is it doesn't seem to have as much potential to keep people lethargic. It's it's more energetic.
Hmm.
It it feels like coffee and Vicodin mixed together, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, you could use it to help fight fatigue. But some people I have heard say that with their traditional opioids, They were useless. They couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
And then with Kratom, they're doing everything that they normally would otherwise do. Their life's great. They're happy. They're running around and doing things, which is what it's all about to begin with. You're trying to get back to normal life. You're trying to be comfortable.
Right.
And I don't know, sitting in a chair drooling on yourself all day just doesn't seem like the life.
Yeah, that's not exactly healing, right?
Yeah, you want to get out and go like play golf with your buddies or something. I don't know. But that's another benefit to it as well. Just seems like it works better with life than traditional opioids.
Hmm.